Hi guys, in this video, let's solve the given quadratic equation by completing this square. So we have here x squared plus 6x minus 16 equals 0. So ang gagamitin natin na technique or method to solve this given quadratic equation is the completing the square method. So basically, these are the steps that you need to undertake when solving quadratic equation using the given method. So method completing the square, let's copy the given first. So we have here x squared plus 6x minus 16 equals 0. So after that, after natin makopy ang given, all we just need to do is to separate the constant from the left side of the equation to the right side of the equation. So ililipat muna natin ang constant. This is the constant, right? So minus 16. So from the left side of the equation, we're going to transpose that to the right side of the equation. So that becomes x squared plus 6x equals 16. Because again, if we're going to transfer a constant from the left side of the equation to the right side of the equation, so its symbol or its sign changes. So from positive to negative or from negative to positive. So this is, since this is negative 16, or minus 16, so after transposing it to the right side of the equation, this will now become positive 16, this one. This is what I'm talking about. And then after that, we have to add a constant to both of the sides of the equation. So we need to add a number here as well as here, so that, or in such a way that the algebraic expressions here will be in the form of a perfect square trinomial. Now, how are we going to do that? So all we just need to do is to look at the numerical coefficient of the second term. So the numerical coefficient of the second term is 6, right? So ang gagawin mo lang ay, as long as the numerical coefficient of the first term here is 1, so there is no numerical coefficient sa first term aside from 1. So we do not write 1 naman ani, di ba? So ang gagawin nyo lang ay just divide the numerical coefficient of the middle term by 2, and then you have to square the answer. And that's how, or that's the answer of that procedure is now the answer or the number that you're gonna add to both of the sides. So let me show you here for you to understand it clearly. So as what you can see, 6 is the numerical coefficient of the middle term, right? So all you just need to do is just to divide it by 2, and then you're just gonna square the answer. And the answer for that is the number that you're gonna add to both of the sides of the equation. So 6 divided by 2 squared. So we're gonna add that to the left side of the equation as well as in the right side of the equation. So let's simplify this further. So this becomes x squared plus 6x plus 9. Why 9? Because 6 divided by 2, that's 3, and then squaring it becoming 9. So we add 9 here as well as here. So the constant that you're gonna add to the left side should also be added to the right side of the equation to maintain the equality. And then you have to evaluate this one. You have to look at here. This certain algebraic expression is now a perfect square trinomial. So you're gonna write it this way, or just have to make it in a way that it seems to be much like something like factoring. So that becomes x plus 3 squared equals 16 plus 9, that's 25. So x plus 3, or quantity x plus 3 squared, is just the other way of writing x squared plus 6x plus 9. So this is, as what I've said, this is similar to factoring technique. So you have to write it as the square of binomial, this one. The perfect square trinomial that you have created after adding a particular constant. And then after that, we have to square both sides of the equation, right? So that ang mabili na lang will be x plus 3 equals square root of 25 is positive negative 5. Because again, if you're dealing with quadratic equations, so you have to consider that the possible number of roots is 2. And then we have to transpose 3, this one, from the left side of the equation to the right side of the equation. So this becomes x equals positive negative 5 minus 3. So in this way, we can now tell that we have 2 possible roots for the given quadratic equation. Now for x sub 1, or the first root would be x plus 3, or this one, x plus 3 equals 5, or this one, x equals 5 minus 3. So this one. So kaning part kay dari pa ko ani nag-base. But this is just the same. Na simplified lang ni. So x equals 5 minus 3. So this is positive, diba? This is plus minus 5. So 5 positive 5 minus 3, which is equal to 2. While x sub 2 is negative 5. So since this is plus minus 5, so negative 5 minus 3, which is equal to negative 8. And these are now the roots of the given quadratic equation. Now, how are we going to know if the roots are the solution to the given quadratic equation? So we have to check our answer. So our roots are 2 and negative 8, right? So we have to substitute these values to the given quadratic equation. So if x equals 2, so x squared plus 6x minus 16 equals 0. So you have to substitute 2 to the variable x here. So this becomes 2 squared plus 6 times 2 minus 16 equals 0. And then 2 squared, that's 4, plus 6 times 2, that's 12, minus 16 equals 0. Simplify this further, this becomes 16 minus 16, which is equal to 0. So 0 over 0. So our first solution is correct, or the first value of the root is correct, which is 2. What about if the value of x is negative 8? So let's also substitute negative 8 to the given quadratic equation. So x squared plus 6x minus 16 equals 0. So x squared, let's gonna substitute negative 8. So this becomes negative 8 squared, or quantity negative 8 squared, plus 6 times negative 8 minus 16 equals 0. So we have substitute negative 8 here, or we have substituted negative 8 to the variable x here. So negative 8 squared, that's 64, and then plus 6 times negative 8, that's negative 48, minus 16 equals 0, and this can still be simplified into 16 minus 16 equals 0. So 16 minus 16, that's 0, equals 0. So the correct, or I mean the other value of our x here is also correct because it satisfies the given quadratic equation. All right? Let's try the second example for you to understand this method better. So we have here x squared plus 12x plus 1 equals negative 19. Again, the first step is to copy the given quadratic equation. So let's copy x squared plus 12x plus 1 equals 19. And then after that, we have to group the constant. So if there is a constant in the left side of the equation, so we have to transfer that to the right side of the equation, and we have to be careful of that sign. So from positive to negative, from negative to positive. So since this is positive 1 or plus 1, if we're going to transpose this to the right side of the equation, this will now become minus 1. So this becomes x squared plus 12x equals negative 19 minus 1. And then let's simplify this further. So this becomes x squared plus 12x equals negative 19 minus 1. That's negative 20. And then we are now going to add a constant to both sides of the equation. So how are we going to do that again? All you just need to do is to divide the middle term, the numerical coefficient of the middle term, by 2, and then square it. So x squared plus 12x plus 12 over 2. So this is the numerical coefficient of the middle term, right? 12 divided by 2, and then square the answer. So that is also the constant that we're going to add to the left side of the equation to maintain the equality of the given quadratic equation. And then simplify. So this becomes x squared plus 12x plus 12 divided by 2, that's 6, squared, that's 36. So equals negative 20 plus 36. And then write this in write this as a product, or I mean as the square of binomial. So this can be written as x plus quantity x plus 6 squared equals, so negative 20 plus 13, that's, I mean negative 20 plus 36, that's 16. And then let's get the square root of both sides. So that's square root of quantity x plus 6 squared equals square root of 16. So this becomes x plus 6 equals, the square root of 16 is positive and negative 4. And then let's simplify this further. So this becomes x equals positive negative 4. Since this is plus 6, so if we're going to transpose that to the right, this becomes minus 6, right? And then we could now tell the roots of the given quadratic equation. So the first root, so x sub 1 equals, so this is positive 4, this one, minus 6. So that is negative 2. So 4 minus 6, that's negative 2. So again, this one ha, kani siya, karira ni siya na, kani this one. Walang nang nako na simplify daan. So this is the first root. And then for the second root, so we have x sub 2, that's x equals negative 4. So plus minus 4 man, naman ang plus, arita sa minus. So minus 4 or negative 4 equal minus 6. So negative 4 minus 6, that's negative 10. So this is the value of our second root. So therefore, our roots or the values of the roots of this given quadratic equation are negative 2 and negative 10. And we still have to check them so that we are very sure that each of these roots will satisfy to the given quadratic equation. So if x is equal to negative 2, will it satisfy the given equation x squared plus 12x plus 1 equals negative 19? So let's check it out. So let's substitute negative 2 to the variable x. So that becomes quantity negative 2 squared plus 12 times negative 2 plus 1 equals negative 19. So negative 2 squared, quantity negative 2 squared, that's 4, plus 12 times negative 2, that's negative 24, plus 1 equals negative 19. Simplifying this further, so this becomes 4 plus negative 24, that's negative 20, plus 1, that's negative 19. Yeah, so negative 19 equals negative 19. So using the first root of the given quadratic equation, so this is the root that we have solved, we have satisfied the given equation. So our answer, the first root, is correct. Now for the second root, if x is equal to negative 10, so let's substitute it. So x squared plus 12x plus 1 equals negative 19, substituting negative 10 to the variable x. So it becomes quantity negative 10 squared plus 12 times negative 10 plus 1 equals negative 19. Simplifying this further, this becomes negative 10, quantity negative 10 squared, that's 100, plus 12 times negative 10, that's negative 120, plus 1 equals negative 19. Simplifying this further, so 100 plus negative 120, that's negative 20. And then plus 1 equals negative 19. So this is equal to negative 19 equals negative 19. So the correct, or I mean the second root that we have solved is also correct. Therefore, we are sure that the values of x, negative 2 and negative 10, are the solution for the given quadratic equation, right? Now what about this one? Let's have this last example. Let's have 3x squared plus 18x plus 4 equals 13. So let's copy the given first. 3x squared plus 18x plus 4 equals 13. And then let's segregate or separate the constant. So let's write 4 to the right side of the equation, changing its sign from positive 4 or plus 4 to negative 4 or minus 4. So this becomes 3x squared plus 18x equals 13 minus 4. So from plus 4, it becomes minus 4. And then simplify, so that becomes 3x squared plus 18x equals 13 minus 4, that's 9. And then let's factor this out. So factor 3x squared plus 18 x, actually we could also include this, but I prefer not to. So this becomes 3 times x squared plus 6x equals 9. And then let's divide both sides of the equation by 3, so that the 3 here will be cancelled. So 3 times quantity x squared plus 6x all over 3 equals 9 divided by 3. So if we're going to divide a constant in this part of the equation, or in this portion of the left side of the equation, so we should also do that to the right side of the equation. So this becomes x squared plus 6x equals 9 divided by 3, that's 3. And then let's add the constant na. So this is how this is where the completing the square technique begins, actually. Itong mag-add na tao constant. So x squared plus 6x plus 6 over 2 squared equals 3 plus quantity 6 over 2 squared. So this is the numerical coefficient of the middle term, 6. So 6, and then just divide it by 2 and then square it for you to determine the number or the constant that you're going to add to each of the side of the equation. So it becomes x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 3 plus 9. Because, why? Because 6 divided by 2, that's 3, right? Squared, so that's 9. So, kaya naging ganito siya. And then simplify this further, so this becomes x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 12. So we could write this, or you have to write this in, or as the square of binomial, since this is already a perfect square. So it will always become a perfect square. That's why this method is called completing the square, because you have to make a way for the left side of the equation to be formed into a perfect square trinomial to get the roots of the equation. And then let's get the square root of each of the side of the equation. So square root of quantity x plus 3 squared equals square root of 12. And then simplifying this further, this will give us x plus 3 equals positive negative 2 square root of 3. Because the square root of 12 is 2 square root of 3. So that's plus minus 2 square root of 3. And then x equals plus minus 2 square root of 3 minus 3. So that's just the simplified x. So we just transpose plus 3 here to the right side of the equation. That's why it becomes minus 3. So we could now tell the roots of the given quadratic equation. So as what you can see, there is already a radical sign in this part because 12 is not a perfect square number man. So we have to also apply the rules in simplifying radicals. So our x sub 1 here would be x equals 2 square root of 3 minus 3. So this is now the answer. And our x sub 2 here will be negative 2 square root of 3 minus 3. So this is this is the value of the second root of the given quadratic equation. All right. Now let's check them. So these are now the values of the x's. So 2 square root of 3 minus 3 and negative 2 square root of 3 minus 3. Let's just substitute them to the given quadratic equation. 3x squared plus 18x plus 4 equals 13. And you will still, these values will still satisfy the given equation. So correct gihapon siya. So if you're gonna substitute 2 square root of 3 minus 3 and negative 2 square root of 3 minus 3 to x, your the roots will still be satisfying the equation. So mahibog ka po siyang 13 equals 13, 13 equals 13. So therefore, after checking, we have found out that both of the roots satisfy the given quadratic equation. So we can now conclude that both of these roots are the solutions of the quadratic equation given. Alright? Now this time, I want you to try this one. So try to solve the given quadratic equation by completing the square. 2x squared plus 20x minus 7 equals 7. And then you may comment your answer in the comment section below. That's all for now. Thank you. More power and let's keep learning.